The students in arts and sciences are truly extraordinary. And we, of course, have another extraordinary student. It's a pleasure to introduce our student speaker. We always have, in addition to the video, a student speaker, and we ask them to share in their own words what receiving a scholarship has meant to them. This year, our student speaker is Luisa Castañeda-Cano, and she is a senior. She's in the class of 2019 from Carthage and Columbia, Missouri. She is majoring in international and area studies and in history, and then minoring in Spanish. She is the recipient of the Robert G. Silvers Memorial Scholarship, supported by Sally Silvers, and we're delighted that Sally and her son Zach are here. Luisa, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you all here tonight. I remember the first time I found out I was undocumented. I was 12 years old, and I was sitting in my 6th grade classroom. Abruptly, one of my classmates turns to me and asks, "Did you jump the border? Are you a wetback?" I stared blankly into his face. I had no idea what to tell him. What did he mean by wetback? What was an illegal alien? At dinner that night, I asked my mom if we were illegal. With only the concern a mother can give, she looked at me and she said, "Mija, ¿quién te dijo eso?" As tears welled in both our eyes, I was inconsolable. One of the first questions I asked my mom was, how am I supposed to go to college? My mom, who is a big proponent of education, always pushed me to do my best academically and instilled an expectation within me to attend college. In my 12-year-old mind, however, due to my documentation status, I didn't think college was a possibility for kids like me. The prologue to my story begins in the summer of 1985 in a small town in southwest Missouri. At that time, my mom was a foreign exchange student to the US and found a loving home with her housing parents, Bob and Barbara Dietz. I fondly know them as Mimi and Papa, my grandparents not by blood, but by choice. It was Mimi and Papa who looked after us when we first immigrated to the US from Colombia in the late 1990s. At that time, I was 3 years old and my mom was 5 months pregnant with my brother, Jose. Because of their selflessness and love, I stand before you here today. It was Mimi and Papa who drove us to the grocery store, to church, and helped us make ends meet when food was scarce and funds were short. If Mimi and Papa are my guardian angels in this life, then my mom is my hero, my role model, and my coach. Every time I reflect on my mom's sacrifices for our family, I'm always left with one question: how in the world did she do it? Even with Mimi and Papa's help, we still struggled. My mom babysat for $1.25 an hour, and being the proud and independent woman that she is, she didn't like asking for help, even from my grandparents. There were times where my mom would go to bed hungry to make sure my brother and I were fed, and made the hard decision to assimilate to a normal American lifestyle so that we were inconspicuous to our neighbors. She never spoke Spanish to us outside the home, and many of our Colombian traditions, customs, and foods were lost in the name of blending in. So, many of you may be wondering, how does an undocumented child like me grow up to attend a top university? My response to you, by the grace of God's perfect timing. In 2013, my mom and I obtained our permanent residency. The day after the 2016 election, we took our citizenship test, and in the spring of 2017, we became United States citizens. After obtaining our permanent residency, doors began to open up for me. As the first Latina valedictorian in my high school's history, not only could I fulfill my dream of going to college, but I wasn't worried about my family being separated. The process of applying to WashU and being admitted felt like a dream. I remember the happy tears my mom and I both cried after receiving my acceptance letter and my financial aid package. In that moment, this first-generation college student felt like she was on top of the world. Ever since I arrived to WashU, I've had a lot of firsts. Both as a first-generation immigrant and a first-generation college student, I felt overwhelmed by the magnanimity of WashU. I vividly remember my first interaction with Provost Thorpe and Chancellor Wrighton. We were at the Bare Beginnings welcome event for Latinx students and their families. I looked down at Provost Thorpe's name tag, and the first thing I asked him was, "What's a provost?" Like always, he took it in stride. When I met the chancellor, we spoke about potential majors and minors. I told him that I was interested in obtaining a minor in Spanish, but I wanted to study the Middle East. Thoughtfully, he asked me why I didn't think about getting a minor in Arabic instead of in Spanish, since it was the geographic area I was interested in studying. I responded that reclaiming my identity and my heritage was more important to me. 4 years later, I'm happy to say that my reclamation process is still alive and well. Because of WashU, I've had the ability to study abroad in Japan and Peru, conduct summer research in California, develop professionally through my work-study jobs, and not learn 1 but 2 foreign languages, and most of all, develop relationships that will last a lifetime. I'm sure my fellow WashU students can attest to this, but I truly believe that the foundation of the WashU experience is grounded in the relationships we as students cultivate during our 4 years. Campus organizations and student groups have allowed me, along with my fellow WashU students, to not only grow as scholars, but as future community, national, and global leaders. Because of organizations like TRIO, a program aimed at helping first-generation college students, and my Alpha Psi Lambda Familia, a Latino interest and social fraternity, I found my place at WashU. Academically, my professors pushed me to become a better researcher and writer, and because of their support, I realized I want to further my education through a JD PhD. When I graduate this spring, I will leave WashU with a double major in history and international area studies with a minor in Spanish. My WashU experience has been one of growth and reclamation, and like all the students here tonight, it wouldn't have been possible without you and your generous scholarship support. I want to give a special thanks to my scholarship donor, Mrs. Sally Silvers, for making my college experience possible. And to all the donors here tonight, words will never express how thankful we are for the gift you have given us. On behalf of all the students here, Mimi and Papa, my mom, Liliana, and my brother, Jose, thank you. You have made a tremendous difference in our lives, and we hope to one day pay that forward. Muchísimas gracias y que Dios te bendiga para siempre.
Thank you, Luisa, for sharing your really amazing and remarkable story. I want to thank all of you. As you can see how important your support is for our students. This was an exceptionally touching evening, and thank you. I think you all know how much we appreciate your help in providing the resources so that students like the ones you've heard this evening can go to Washington University. So with that, we all look forward to seeing you again next year. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a pleasant rest of the evening. Good evening.